This is the Gorge. This is a podcast where my friend Sara and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a game or game-related topic. This week we are talking about Steven Universe because it had a game announced like a week ago.
Hey, that's a good way to make that relevant to the subject of this podcast. Good job. I'm proud of you right now. Because I was literally just about to say, like, fuck it, we're talking about Steven Universe because I really like Steven Universe. I forgot all about the game. Yeah.
Yeah, they're putting out the sequel to Attack the Light, which is a game that I still need to play, even though both of us own iPhones and it's free.
I heard it's actually really, really good, too. Like, that's the crazy part. Like, I really do need to play it, because I've heard Attack the Light is actually awesome. So, like, I need to make time for it. But what's the new one called?
I think Save the Light or Defend the Light?
Something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
We won't Google it, because it's not a big deal. But, yeah, it's a JRPG, basically. How fucking awesome is that?
Yeah, I've heard, like, it's very Paper Mario, which I'm all about, because, like, the Paper Mario franchise should be the starting point for JRPGs as far as I'm concerned.
Rebecca Sugar is really and truly living the weeb dream, you know?
Oh, yeah. She's
made her own anime, and now she's making her own JRPG. Like, how many of us dreamed of doing this exact thing when we were children, and she followed through. I'm so proud of her. I am.
This woman who got her start writing Invader Zim fanfiction.
And really depressing comics that got reposted to CO for like 30 years, and I only just now realized that Rebecca Sugar is responsible for not just Chubby Mary Lost in Space, which is fucked up enough, but she's also responsible for that really, really depressing comic about the guy who can only quote Simpsons quotes back at his best friend.
Shut up!
You didn't know that?
What? No!
What the fuck?
No!
Yes! Totally!
Oh,
okay. That comic about, like, you know, the two guys who are, like, best friends, and one guy gets in a car accident, and, like, all they do is quote Simpsons quotes at each other, and the other guy gets in a car accident, he's got brain damage, but he can still quote back at his friend at Simpsons quotes. Like, that's Rebecca Sugar, my dude.
Shut up!
I would not lie to you. I would not lie to you about this. I googled it because, like, somebody reposted it on Tumblr or something, and I was like, wait a second, I know this art style. Where do I know this art? Because, like, her old art is, like, way different, but you can still kind of see it, especially if you've seen the pilot for Steven Universe. Like, it's really like it's kind of like the transitional point between what she used to draw and the way she draws now. And so, like, I was looking at it, I'm like, what the fuck? This is so familiar. And then I looked it up, and it's Rebecca fucking Sugar. Like, all she's done for, like, my entire time on the internet is bum the hell out of me. That's what she does.
She is a monster.
She's a monster. She is. I don't know how she does it. Because, like, Chubby Mary in Space is, like, really depressing, too, you know? And it's only, it's like a 9-panel comic or something. And, like, you're like, oh, no. Oh no! And then, like, the Simpsons comic, I mean, will literally, like, ruin your life.
Yeah.
You know? So basically, what I'm saying is Rebecca Sugar is a demon.
Mm-hmm.
You know? She's a demon.
She's pure evil, and then she also made a children's cartoon.
About hurting that child constantly.
Yeah, like, a lot! Like, and this isn't really a Steven bomb, it's more like just an actual consistent release schedule.
Kind of.
Which is weird for Steven Universe to just have episodes come out, like, weekly.
Yeah, but, like, they keep delaying Lion 4. No, they keep delaying Lion 4, because I don't think it's out yet.
No, it's not.
Thanks, Cartoon Network. I know you're trying to kill this show, you fuckers.
Yeah. They need to make more room for Teen Titans Go. There needs to be more Teen Titans.
Oh, fuck.
Do you like Teen Titans?
I liked the original Teen Titans, you fucks. Yeah. Oh, God, I hate Teen Titans Go so much. There needs to be more. There needs to be more Teen Titans Go and the abysmal Powerpuff Girls reboot.
Oh, God, yeah. Mm-hmm. They keep making that against all odds.
Despite the fact that nobody is asking for it at all. Nobody wants more Powerpuff Girls reboots, and yet here we are talking about it because it's still not canceled.
No one wants it. No one wants it less than Craig McCracken wants it.
Poor Craig McCracken. This is now, he had a legacy, and it was a good legacy, Like, he had Powerpuff Girls, and it's like, yeah, Craig McCracken did something amazing, and then they rebooted it, and now suddenly the original Powerpuff Girls is, like, worse in the light of Powerpuff Girls reboot. It's so tragic. I'm sorry, Craig McCracken.
Did you ever see that comic where it's Samurai Jack, like, walking up to the renewal station?
No.
Like he's going to get his contract renewed, and the Powerpuff Girls interrupt him. And they're like, yeah, talk about our show where we go to school and we twerk and talk in memes. And then Jack walks over to the Adult Swim booth instead.
Oh my god. Oh god, I hate Powerpuff Girls, and I hate Teen Titans Go, but we're not talking about that.
No.
We're talking about how fucking good Steven Universe is.
Yeah.
And how Rebecca Sugar keeps hurting this child.
Mm-hmm. He got hurt a lot. He got hurt a lot in this one.
He gets hurt so much in this season, and we're talking emotional and physical here. And I'm like, stop hurting my bean. He's a good child, and he's so sad all of the time now, and I just feel so bad for him at this point. Like, it's horrible. I just feel really bad for Steven constantly in this show. Like, I think I brought this up last time we talked about it, but, like, Steven is named after Rebecca Sugar's younger brother, Steven. And so, like, does Steven Sugar watch this show and go like, Rebecca?
Is this what you think our childhood was like?
Do we need to talk? Like, does this make Steven Sugar uncomfortable? I gotta know. Somebody needs to find that guy and ask a question and be like, does your sister want you dead?
or crying all the time?
All of the time? God. We'll get to it, because, like, there's parts in this season that were just, like...
We got a big chunk of, like, really happy episodes, and then they just punch you straight down into the ocean.
And it was like that last time, too, You had, like, Kiki's Pizza Delivery Service and all these fun little episodes, and then suddenly there's a tiny angry person with one eye trying to stab Steven in space with a knife, and you're like, no, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, I think that still is the darkest the show has ever gotten.
Oh, for
which
sure.
Which is just where Eyeball was just about to straight up shank Steven.
I know, like, that is definitely, like, what are we in, season 4 now?
This is season 4, yeah.
Season 4 gets, like, kind of upsetting, and there's, like, a few parts that are really heartbreaking, but in general, season 4 is, like, less of an emotional curb stomp that season 3 was.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of grateful for it, because I can't survive another season 3. Season 3 was rough. So I'm glad that season 4 was more, like, sad, but still kind of good, not, like, actively trying to, like, destroy me.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get to it.
Alright, so, we left off last time on Know Your Fusion, which was one of the funniest esoteric episodes ever.
One of the weirder episodes in the series, for sure.
And then, so, right after that one, which we would have gotten if they do seasons in, like, a normal order, like other things in existence.
But Cartoon Network is the worst, so it's okay.
Yeah. So, we got, Buddy's book.
And I actually just watched that one, like, 5 minutes ago, so it's still fresh in my mind, because I somehow missed that one when we were, doing all of the rewatch stuff. It was cute! It's cute! I like seeing Pearl in a 1700s powdered wig.
I like seeing Pearl and Garnet ride off on a tandem bike that wasn't there in the scene before.
Yeah, for sure. And I like that Garnet's sunglasses in the flashback only cover 2 of her eyes. So, like, when she's talking to Buddy, like, you can actually make out her expression because of the one eye that's, like, constantly, like, gesticulating at him. It's amazing.
Now, it was really quick, but did you notice what Nanafua was reading in the library?
I did not.
She was reading, smutty Viking, or smutty Scottish romance trash. Like, it shows, all we see is the cover, and it's just, like, this shirtless, like, guy in a kilt and a broadsword. And it's like, Nanafua, no!
No, Nanafua, yes! You're my favorite character! That's so good. It's so cute. I'm really glad that the book of all these, like, I think the best part of this episode, it's kind of like a running theme of Steven Universe that I love, is that this isn't just like a cartoon show. This is a sci-fi magic cartoon show, alternate history America, or Earth. It goes really hard with the fact that this is like an alternate history version of Earth, because like you can see shots that Florida just kind of isn't there.
Well, Russia's gone.
Yeah, and Florida is underwater. You can see it. And it's like there's like a few islands that would be Florida, but like the rest of it is underwater, and so is Russia. And I really want to know why. I know it's like probably just a joke, but I really want to know if there's like a reason for it. Mm-hmm. Like,
well, this episode was really good because it really helped put things kind of in perspective, because it's one of those things where, like, we know that the Gem War happened thousands of years ago. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things where, like, we can't really grasp what that means because it was so long ago that we don't have any, like, you know, it's just, like, it's hard to visualize thousands of years ago.
Right.
In that way. So it really helped seeing Buddy go to these locations. Mm-hmm. Because we can understand, like, this would have been, what, like, 300 years ago?
Yeah, like, just depending kind of on the way they dressed, it's like 300 or 400 years ago.
Yeah, we can kind of wrap our heads around that because, you know, that's, like, more modern civilization. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of just helps put it in perspective, like, yeah, these things have been around for a while. They've been in this state for a while.
Yeah, they haven't changed in, like, 400 years or whatever. Like, that's what's really interesting, is, like, how the fact that just... I mean, I just really dig that these things just kind of exist in their world. Like, they're not secrets. Like, people have been to them, and they're, like, just kind of a fact of life. They're not, like, hidden away in some magic place that other people can't see. You know?
Yeah, there's no veil, you know? There's no curtain in this. It's that... Buddy even just calls them the crystal gems in his diary.
Yeah. It's really interesting, and I want a war flashback. God damn it. I need a flashback. One episode, Rebecca, please.
Not even an episode, just like 2 minutes.
Oh, please.
Just give us a scene.
Give me anything. I'm putting money on the fact that Florida and Russia don't exist because of the Gem War. I'll put my money down on that, and if I'm wrong, then I'll pay out whoever wants to take me up on that bet. So yeah. So, I mean, but yeah, it was a cute episode. It's a good episode. Yeah. So, yeah.
It more than anything, it makes me want, like, an open world Steven Universe game to explore. I mean, we've been playing a lot of those lately.
Yeah.
But, like, just like, not even just like a full-fledged game. I want to do something where I can walk around as Buddy and see cool locations. Yeah. I just want a more of, like, a lore dump. Like, I would love it if they would just put out, like a Steven Universe encyclopedia. Yeah! You know, with just a big old lore dump, you know? About, like, the different temples and the ruins, the strawberry fields, and stuff like that. The palanquin. Like, I would love it if they would just give me Buddy's, if they would just reprint Buddy's book as a thing I can actually buy, you know? Yeah, that would be, like, one of the best ways to do a Steven Universe art book, I think. Yeah, just give me, like, Yeah. Yeah, all the sketches, like, put, like half the book is Buddy's book, and then the other half is whatever, concept art and, you know, standard art book stuff. But, like, yeah, make half of it Buddy's book and let us read all that. Yeah, and wrap it up in, like, brown faux leather, you know, binding, and sell it to me for $30. I promise you I will buy it. I love art books. Are you kidding me? And I would especially a show that looks as good as Steven Universe. Oh my god.
I know. Oh my god, I want it so badly. Okay, so yeah.
So that's Buddy's book. So next up is one of the first of the Heartbreak episodes.
This episode's so good though.
Mindful Education, which is probably one of the most beautiful episodes in the series, I think.
For a good reason, my friend, because Mindful Education was storyboarded out by an artist from Trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember which one it is. I know his Tumblr name is Porigoshi. 2 seconds. I know who it is. Porigoshi.
And you can tell right away. Takafumi Hori, yes.
Takafumi Hori boarded and supervised the animation for Mindful Education because he's just that big of a Steven Universe fan, which is tremendous.
Oh, I'm so glad when stuff like that happens. When you can cross the borders like that, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and because I guess you can kind of like if you are Japanese, it's kind of like I feel like Steven Universe does a good job of kind of pulling anime tropes without like really trying too hard to be anime, you know?
Well,
like it does its own thing.
Yeah, well, there's it's one of those things where like you can tell the difference between someone who like if you're doing an anime-esque show, you can tell the difference between someone who's actually watched anime and someone who knows what their kid watches.
Right, yeah, for sure. And I mean, Steven Universe just does it so well. It kind of handles those similar themes and ideas, and the more dreamlikeness of the story, I think, is a huge contributing factor to what gives it that kind of anime vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of shows do the style, you know, like Avatar and stuff like that. A lot of other shows try to kind of rip on this, like take part of the style, but they kind of miss kind of the thematic weirdness that kind of runs through most anime.
Yeah, because
like mainstream anime.
Because like Avatar is a very anime-inspired art style, but like its story is fairly like Western. You know, like it's not exactly the kind of story or like writing style you would see in an anime.
Yeah.
Whereas Steven Universe like has very anime-esque like feelings to it.
Yeah. That idea, kind of like a Mushishi or a Kino no Tabi, which is it's a really good show if you've ever watched it. Which are both kind of like scenery porn, kind of just shows that are more like reflective. And I feel like sometimes, especially like early Steven Universe, one of my criticisms of this season, and we'll get to it as we kind of go along, is that there's a lot of the scenery porn, kind of like more magic-y aspects of the show have given way to more cartoony aspects, that made seasons 1, 2, and 3 like really good. Like, I think season 4 is really good, but I think it's weaker than 3, for sure.
For sure it doesn't have the exact same emotional punch that 3 did, and it doesn't go quite the distance that 3 did. But that would be hard to do.
For sure. But also, it doesn't have, like, 1 and 2 had really good moments of these kind of really beautiful, I'm thinking of the part when Steven and Connie are riding on the back of Lion across the ocean. Those kind of things that were magical moments that reminded me of Kino no Tabi and Mushishi, of, like I said, scenery porn or sakuga, where it's just these big, beautiful animation moments where you can really see the kind of the world they exist in. And season 4 didn't have a lot of those. Mindful Education is one of the few episodes that really did that kind of sakuga feel, which was what makes it so beautiful. But it's the one kind of failing of season 4, as much as I enjoyed it. But I loved Mindful Education. Holy shit, I've watched it like 5 times.
Dude, that song is...
I know.
Like, would it be my... I would think it's up there with my favorite Steven Universe song.
It's Over, isn't it? Is my favorite Steven Universe song.
That's 100%. Also... That's why it's so hard, is because they're all really good.
I know, it's so hard, but oh gosh, I do love that song, and it is really, I mean, it really is exactly what it is. It's supposed to be kind of like a chill-out song to help you kind of unpack your brain.
Yeah, it's a calm-down song.
Yeah, I listen to it to chill out a lot. I'm just like, Estelle has the best voice ever. You know? I just want her to sing everything to me.
And it was also really nice that it was an episode more about Connie.
Yeah.
And seeing, like, kind of like seeing the effects that the training has on her as a normal person. And, like, you know, being able to relate it back to Steven as well. And one of the things they do really good is they always take that extra step in their, like, character development or their character, like trials or something like that. Is they always take, like, one extra step beyond what you would think a mainstream Western cartoon would take. Yeah,
for sure. Because, like, what Steven Universe does that most Western cartoons don't do is that they don't... Steven Universe doesn't uphold the status quo. Steven Universe doesn't care about the status quo. You know, like, most other cartoons, excluding things like Avatar, and Gravity Falls, are the idea that at the end of every episode, everything's back to the way it was before. You know, like, nothing ever changes because these shows are meant to be played just kind of in whatever sequence you want, you know?
Yeah.
But Steven Universe doesn't do that. I think that's why Cartoon Network hates it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that might be part of it.
I think so. I think that's the major reason why Cartoon Network hates it so much. Is that you can't play Steven Universe out of sequence, you know, because otherwise it makes no fucking sense.
It demands a consistent schedule.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, at the end of these episodes, these characters are different. Like, they've changed, and so
there's a lot of growth in this show.
Yeah, it's great, and Mindful Education is such a good show of it. It's so God, it's so beautiful.
Because they could have just had it be about Connie, and they could have just had it be like Connie's problem, like is that her reflexes are too high right now, and she's too high strung from all the stress, and she takes it out on an innocent kid. And then it's like that could have been the entire episode, and that would have been a solid episode. But they go the extra step, and they show that Steven is doing the same thing. And that he's just keeping it all down, and that both of them need that time to breathe and to come to terms with what they've done, and so that they can work better as a team and they can become closer.
Yeah.
And so it's just like that. You don't see that extra step a lot.
Yeah. And, I mean, they handle it so well, and you know, this is one of those episodes that I said, it's just pure Sakuga, to the part when they're falling from the sky, and it's just so beautiful, and it's a total Spirited Away reference, and, like, I mean, it was just gorgeous. I just love that whole part, and all the, you know, I love watching Steven really, I mean... Just the way the show has handled Rose, I could probably talk an entire podcast about Rose Quartz.
Oh boy, we're gonna have a lot to say about Rose in coming up soon.
And it's like, I think I love more than anything the way the show kind of handles Steven trying to unpack Rose and like understand Rose, because there's a lot to her that he just kind of can't wrap his head around, because he's just a 14-year-old kid and she lived for like 7,000 years. So there's a lot going on between him and her, and so I mean, at times, especially in Mindful Education, she's like a malevolent figure to him.
Yeah.
And then at times it's also, she's like mom, you know? She's his mom, and he knows she cares about him and she loves him and she wants him to be okay. But then you see all these other things, you know, that she did, and he relates them to himself and what he did to Jasper and to Eyeball. And
to Jasper, to Eyeball, and Bismuth.
Yeah.
And, like, what that does to a kid like that. And I always go back whenever I think of Rose and Steven, like, as a, like, I can't really say the relationship because they don't have one. Because I always think of that line when he first sees the statue.
Yeah.
And he goes, I wish I could have gotten to know you, because that way this place would make me feel something.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like, I mean, they've handled the whole not making Rose just like the dead anime mom. Like, making her something more.
She's not a saint.
Yeah, but I mean, she's just like a normal person, basically, because she screws up. And so they've done a really good job of having... I mean, that's like a normal thing. You realize a lot about your parents just kind of growing up. And this is just like on a bigger scale. Like, when you're a kid, your parents can do no wrong until one day you click and realize, oh, they can do wrong. They can do a lot wrong. And so this is, I mean, it's just that conflict that everybody goes through if you have functioning parents. If you have, like, normal parents, then, like, everybody understands it. It's just that Steven is dealing with it on a much, much bigger scale than us.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still relatable, which is really nice. And I think that's why it gets to a lot of people, is, like, it is so relatable to be like, I don't understand my parents. I don't get them sometimes. Realizing that they're not infallible was, like, a huge moment in my life. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very relatable in a way that, like, it's not preachy about it.
Yeah.
And this episode's a really good, like, example of that, like, you know, finding a way to connect, like, problems a person might have, but, like, you know, kind of coding it with a bit of the magic and sci-fi aspect, but, like, you can still see what the issue is, which is that, like, yeah, if you dump a lot of responsibility like this on a kid, and, you know, when he already has, like, an awkward relationship with his parents, that, like, it'll have some effects. And, like, I can totally see a young kid watching this and being like, yeah, I get exactly what he's feeling right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just handled... I mean, the animation is so good in this episode because, again, Takafumi Hori, oh my god.
Yeah, just on a visual, like, you can tell exactly where the normal team stops and he starts, because like, watching Ruby flail around in the most distinctive trigger way possible.
And the kind of, like, the butterflies are really like a mass of butterflies. They're almost like a fluid thing.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that is so... just, you can tell exactly when he took over to do that animation, because it's like a fluid... it's like a cloud of water that just happens to look like butterflies.
It's a very much a trigger thing to have solid objects take on the properties of a liquid like that. You know, like the giant crowds of people in Kill la Kill, you know?
Totally, exactly. And to just have to have physical objects kind of take on a different kind of property. And it's so beautiful in Mindful Education. Oh god, it's so gorgeous.
It's... What Mindful Education is one of those episodes that's just like it's very much like comfort food in and cartoon form.
It totally is. It just
where it's
makes
just like if you're having a rough time or if something is going wrong, like, just go listen to that song and just do exactly what it says. And
it's so good.
Yeah.
I love that episode. I do. I love... God, it's such a good episode. I want to go rewatch it. I need to go rewatch it. It's been a while. So, like, after we get done here, I might go rewatch it. Okay. Next.
We do have a lot to go. But speaking of being sad and then being very happy, next up is Future Boys Ultron, which is...
cute.
God, what an episode that someone has clearly been thinking about getting out for a long time.
It's cute. It was such a cute, just little simple, fun episode to kind of, you know, obviously it's just a little filler up, but it was handled really well, you know?
I one of my favorite things about Future Boys Ultron is the blatant cop out of, like, because you can totally tell that, like, they sat around in the meeting room for a while, like, how can we get Garnet into this scene? Like, how can we write Garnet into this episode? Like, because it's about the town. It's an Earth episode. It's like, how can we get her to appear in the scene? And someone just said, what if she's just there? Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that'll work. That's cool. Yeah, and they just kind of rolled with it, and it was just cute. I mean, I don't really have a lot else to say other than I like, again, that they kind of danced around this whole idea of Mr. Smiley and Dude having been in a relationship. Like,
yeah.
You know,
oh, yeah.
They were just kind of like, you know, like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and usually they're much more overt. But I liked that it was just kind of like a subtle, like, yeah, you know what we're really talking about kind of thing.
Well, they did confirm later on that, yeah, Mr. Frowny is gay.
Oh, good. Okay, then yeah, for sure.
So
it was just not, yeah.
It was what it was, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. But
it also had some of the funniest gags ever, which, with Onion.
Oh my god. Yes.
Like, Onion, the lesson Onion took away from Steven's warning is to wear a mask when he breaks in.
Onion.
And then Steven's awkward, Zoltron thinks that's a question for your doctor.
I like Steven wearing oven mitts as his future boy robot hands. Yeah, it was just a cute episode. Like, I don't have a lot else to say about it beyond that, just except like, that was cute. Yeah, I needed those warm and fuzzies.
They also did one of my favorite like cartoon gags in anything, which is, first off, the first level is when a character wears a disguise that is very obviously fake.
Right.
The second is when the disguise is foolproof and everyone falls for it.
Yeah, true. Like when nobody knew it was Steven, despite it being obviously Steven, like when Sadie and Lars were talking to it.
Yeah, despite it very obviously being a little boy with silver face paint and oven mitts.
Yeah.
Like to the point where when Mr. Frowny saw him with his torso and up were disguised, his human legs were just dangling out, and even then he's like, "Oh no, it came to life!"
True. So hey, was Mr. Frowny voiced by somebody? Like,
he was, but yeah.
I shouldn't have asked you this before. Hold on, I'm gonna Google it real fast.
God, yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I know it's like some famous like British actor, Brian George.
Oh yeah, that's a guy for sure. Okay.
He's an actor. Oh my god, he played Babu in Seinfeld. Good god. Yeah, so yeah, he is.
He's like a guy. Yeah, I knew. He was...
And it's one of those things where like you could tell like, oh yeah, he is an actor who is appearing as a special guest.
Right, exactly. So I was like wondering, I'm like, is Mr. Frowny, like, who is Mr. Frowny? So now I know. But yeah, no, it was just a cute episode.
Yeah, it's just a fun episode to have. Now I'm really excited for this one because the next one is Last One Out of Beach City.
Oh my god, let Mom date again! It's so good. I had a friend, hey Rachel, I know you're probably listening to this episode, so what's up? God bless that poor girl, she told me for weeks, she's like, you gotta watch Last One Out of Beach City. I'm like, I know, I'll get to it, I promise, I will get to Last One Out of Beach City. And then I never got to it, sorry, until now. And she was right. I mean, it was basically perfect. It was exactly what I wanted in an episode. And I really want Mom to date again. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, like, it's... what a perfect way to get Pearl to move on, you know?
Yeah.
Like, she had Mr. Greg, which was also a great movie on Owen. But, like, to have, like, the follow-up be like, hey, she's ready to start seeing other people now.
Right. And Mystery Girl is really cool. So,
she's super cool.
She's really cool. So, like, yeah, Mom, you go date this cool young chick and be a badass and hide from
piercings
the police.
And dyed hair and
yeah, and Pearl is getting in a chase with the police and driving like a baller. Like, what a great episode! It just, oh god, I love Pearl so much. That whole episode, I'm just like, let Mom date again.
Watching her. There were so many, like, little bits, like, watching her try to open the apple juice.
Yes! And then, like, clearly being uncomfortable while drinking it.
Yeah. Also, because this is the best thing, there were so many Pearl noises in that episode.
Oh my god, Pearl noises are the best thing. I want, like, all of my text tones to be Pearl noises. You know, like, I need to find a way to set, like, my text tones for all of my friends and family to be different Pearl noises. You know?
Because they're all so good.
So funny. And, Pearl wearing human clothes is strangely cute, and she was totally wearing mom jeans. It was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, those were the most mom jeans ever, and the leather jacket, too.
I know, it's so good. She's so great. Pearl is my favorite non-Lapis character, if you can't tell yet. Because just, like, I just love her. She's just a weird, repressed nerd, as the credits at the end of Last One Out of New York City said. She's just a weird, repressed nerd.
Repressed nerd, ultimate wingman, voice of reason.
Mystery girl as herself.
Yeah. I love the pose Steven's making in voice of reason.
Someone help this child. I do like Steven being the voice of reason when it's usually Pearl's job. Because he's just like, no, Mom's lost her mind! It is so...
What was his line? I haven't been that scared since the last time I almost died.
Yeah! Someone help this child! Someone please help Steven Universe, he needs it.
Also, for being a nerd, man, Pearl worked fast and got that number in like 2 minutes.
Damn, right?
She sealed the deal.
Shit. Pearl is a lot smoother than she realizes. I guess when you're like really, really confident about this whole, I saved your whole planet, your entire species thing, it's kind of like, yeah, alright, I'll give you my number. Why not? You're kind of a weirdo, but that's kind of cool. Like,
she also had that dialogue where she's like, I told her my hair is like the rest of me, it's just a construct of hard light, and she said, I understand. Which you totally get that, like, she was just doing the smile and nod thing, like, yeah, totally, I totally get what you mean there. What is going on? Anyway.
No, or it's totally like a hipster thing, you know? Where, like, Pearl is like, yeah, you know, my hair is just is a thing of hard light, and the girl was just like, yeah, man, we're all just made out of light.
I don't know which one I like better. That's really good, though.
Just, yeah, we are all beings made out of light, right on. You know, like, totally. I could see either one being completely valid. But the point is, I want Mystery Girl to come back, and soon, please.
Yeah, oh yeah, because, like I mentioned, like, it'd be really good to have, like, we have Steven and Connie being like the human, like we have Connie to be like the human reaction to all this stuff, but like Connie's a kid, and like it's a very different reaction from when you're a kid and the world is still mysterious in general to when you're more of like an adult, like a mid-20s, like what she clearly was. Like, it would be really interesting to have that kind of perspective, like, to the craziness of the crystal gems.
Yeah, I would just like to see Mystery Girl kind of occasionally coming and going in, like, really obviously girlfriendy ways. You know? Just like dropping things off for Pearl and that kind of thing, and being like, later, babe! Like, I just want her to be, like, really blatantly Pearl's, like, weird girlfriend, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just think it would be comedy gold. You know?
There are so many episodes you could get out of having a human who is not a fighter and who is not, like, part of the team. Like, you know, just having the Mary Jane Watson of the team. Sure. Like, having her interact with the rest of the characters and, like, being like, oh, so you just live here with a bunch of other women and a little boy? I can dig it.
That's cool.
I like the commune, the thing going you have here.
And it's like, I just really want, honestly, another thing I just kind of want it for is like, hey, it'd be really neat, because it's like, Rose went off and dated a human, and Pearl never really understood it until she actually met a human. And I would really like to see that kind of, like, realization of, like, oh, I get it now. This is why. You know, like, give me that. Come on, guys.
That would be really good.
I want that parallel. Because, like, Pearl never understood the whole Greg thing until years and years later. And, like, now if it's like, oh, well, she's falling in love with a human, it's kind of like suddenly a part of Rose that never made sense to her now, like, clicks. you know? Like, I want
Yeah,
it
exactly.
so badly for Pearl. I love this weird bird mom, okay? I want her to be happy.
And I'm so happy with the way she's developed now, and it's so great to have, like, to just see that kind of evolution in a character to get to this point, which, again, most cartoons wouldn't go that extra step. Like, they would have left Pearl's development in this regard on Mr. Greg, and that would have been the end of that particular part of her character's development.
Yeah.
And then I also really appreciate that Steven just called it out, you know?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Yeah, so we all noticed that she looks like Mom, right?
I'm so glad that they didn't try to, like make it a subtle thing, you know? Like, oh, well, Pearl's going after someone who looks like Rose. Oh, man. No, they were just gonna, like, straight up be like, wait, that looks like Mom, right? Yeah, like, it was perfect to have it kind of just, like, instead of going the cliche route of ignoring that it was definitely a Rose XV.
Yeah, exactly.
So please come back, Mystery Girl. I love you, and I want to see more of you. And I want Pearl to freak out about her changing her hair on the fly, kind of the way that Scott Pilgrim did.
Yeah, do a Ramona Flowers thing.
Yeah, with like, you know, like one day she's got pink hair, and like Pearl's super into it because it's like Rose, and the next time you see her, it's like short and green, and Pearl's like, "What have you done to yourself?" I want that. I want those interactions. You know what I mean? Pay me money, Rebecca Sugar. I'm good at these ideas.
Oh, I would love that. Like, yeah, please have her return in season 5. Like, just have her show up here and there. Give her some episodes to herself. Show it, because that's the other thing, is like, they're really good about not abandoning things like that. So, like, it would be really good to just have that continue on. Even if it's, like, a while later. Like, I don't care. It's like, it doesn't have to be immediately. It doesn't have to be, like, the start of season 5. But, like, just have her show up for an episode to show us that it's still going on.
Right. Give me that, please. So, next. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day.
Yeah. Next is one of the weirdest episodes of the season.
Oh, no.
It is Onion Gang.
Oh. Why are Onion episodes like this?
Onion Gang is one of those episodes where I'm like, did I like it? Did I hate it? Was I just uncomfortable?
I was uncomfortable for like 85% of that episode, you know? Mm-hmm. It was just... Now, the little kids' introductions were cute. Like, you know, when Steven was guessing their names. That was cute. And then it was just really, like, a lot of... why are Onion episodes like this? Why? That's all it ever goes back to.
It's such a weird episode.
I don't understand. Like... Did they want him to smash the bug? Or
was that part of it, or
was that a joke?
Did they did he get the wrong idea, or like did his freak out convince them not to do it anymore, or
I don't
like
know. It's weird. It kind of felt like Steven was hanging out with a bunch of serial killers, you know?
Like serial killers in training. Yeah, like
This is just really weird. Like, I mean, all of it was just so uncomfortable. You're just like the bit with the faking death and the fake flashing part. Like
this episode came out of nowhere and like it introduced a lot of things and then did not explain them, and it just left you kind of like, what?
What
Wait,
just happened?
Was that it? That's it? Oh, I'm gonna go take a walk now.
I'm just so uncomfortable. I mean, all of those episodes are like that, where, I mean, it's over, and you're just kind of like, what the fuck did I just watch?
What is Onion?
What is Onion? That is a good question. I don't know. We just don't know. We just don't know what Onion is, and maybe that's for the best. You know? Like, maybe that's a good thing.
I'm waiting for the episode where, like, Vidalia's just like, oh yeah, Onion's adopted.
Please. So it just stays totally nebulous about what exactly Onion is. Please. Oh my god, that'd be hysterical.
It's just so, and then also that bit where they drove by Vidalia and
and sour cream is just like No,
no, that's sour cream. What's his name?
Yellowtail.
Yellowtail, yeah. They dressed by Vidalia and Yellowtail, and Yellowtail's just posing in a lawn chair in his underwear.
Oh my God. I want to hang out in that household. You know what I mean?
Oh, that'd probably be great. I would love to hang out with Sour Cream and his parents.
I would too. I just want to see more. I love episodes about that weird fuck. Like, I love Vidalia episodes, but like sour, like onion episodes, like creep me out. Does that make sense?
No, totally. And like, we didn't mention it, but like going back to last night on Beach City, like. That bit where the reason Greg can't go to the concert is because Vidalia and Barb want to play cards with him, and Barb will withhold his mail.
I love the townies. Like, I really do like townie episodes, except for onion episodes, because they just creep me out. And Laura's episodes, but we'll get there.
But like, and I also just really love that, like, Greg has a friendly relation, social life with Vidalia and Barb. Like, that's just such a really, like, nice little detail to add that really rounds out the characters even more.
Yeah, it's always good to kind of remind people that, like, these human characters have, like, lives, you know? But yeah, Onion Gang, weird episode.
Yeah. Also, that shot of Steven's phone where he's looking through his contacts and he has Mayor Dewey and he has Lars 3 times.
Because Lars has, like, changed his phone number to try to get away from Steven. And, like,
Steven totally.
Just keeps finding it. Totally. Like, 100%. Like, absolutely.
Sadie keeps giving it to him, obviously.
Oh, of course. Okay, what's next?
Alright, so, next is, I think, probably one of my favorite episodes of the season. And that is Gem Harvest.
Oh, I like Gem Harvest. Yeah, it's cute. It's not like it doesn't. I like Gem Harvest. Yeah.
Entirely because of
it's just
Andy.
Carl.
Because Carl is in it, and I'm just like.
It's just Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
She had to know what she was doing when she cast him. Like, they had to know that, like, when they're casting this character, like, people, like, the adult fans who watch this are gonna recognize that voice and go, "Oh my God, it's Carl."
Of course, they knew exactly what they were doing by even, like, making him be like, "She's not an American." Like,
well, that opening thing, the introduction to him, his first line of dialogue is exactly like Carl in every episode. He's like, "What happened to my freaking bond?"
Totally, like.
And just seeing Peridot and Lapis being weirdos again is so refreshing, and just
I do miss seeing them. Like, I do. Yeah, totally. I get what you mean.
Where they're just like, they decided to just randomly start a garden and they're upset that the vegetables aren't alive.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about how the fact that Pumpkin Dog is the best character.
Pumpkin's just one of those things where, like, oh, well, I guess that's just a thing now. I guess Pumpkin is in the cast now.
I love it. I love that they just kind of rando have a pumpkin dog now. Like,
yeah,
for sure. And it's super cute, and I want one.
Oh, I would love a little pumpkin plush. I just want one to, like, just keep around. It'd be so great.
Oh my God, please. But, I mean, like, yeah. Gem Harvest is cute. It's a Thanksgiving episode. It's blatantly a Thanksgiving episode.
It's totally a Thanksgiving episode. And it's just, like, it's one of those things where, like, you can relate to this. Mm-hmm. Like, because everyone has that relative, you know? Like, it's, hey, guess what? Andy's a conservative.
Yeah, and it's all really uncomfortable occasionally.
Yeah. So, like, hey, guess what? We understand. And, you know, it's one of those things where, like, he's not the enemy. He's not a bad guy. He's just, like, uncomfortable around new things. And, you know, it's just... And also, I mean... It's really great to, again, see that Greg has a life outside of the Gems and Steven. And that he has a family.
Right, yeah, totally. Just the idea that... I mean, that's such a thing that doesn't really ever get brought up in stories like this. You know, Magic Kid with, like, just one parent kind of story.
Yeah.
Like, usually extended family never comes up. But surprise, actually, Greg has, like, a whole, like, family. Like, they just kind of all did their own thing, you know?
Yeah, like,
Go ahead.
Yeah, shows will either like stuff like that will either make the point of like, oh no, he doesn't have like an extended family, he doesn't have any aunts or uncles, or or his grandparents are dead too, and then they'll just like conveniently like, yeah, that's why this orphan hero doesn't go live with someone else because he has no other family. But like the fact that like, and it's one of the things we took for granted, like, yeah, Greg is probably an only child and like just moved away, and we don't need to see his parents, but to have a cousin come back and then talk about family members, it's just like, I kind of hope we see more of the DeMeo family at some point.
And also the fact that Steven thinks that DeMeo is a cooler name than Universe. Somebody needs to sit this child down. I do love that whole scene where, like, Greg and Andy are, like, having this back and forth, and it occasionally just cuts to Steven going, DeMeo is a way cooler last name. And they're just like, no, Steven, no! Child!
Also, the horribly uncomfortable inside jokes the Gems were making.
Lapis going, I hate this table! She's like, as like a reference to how much she hates Earth.
Well, no, the bit where she makes the mirror joke, and then only her and Peridot are laughing.
Yes! So can we please talk about, for just a second, it's going to come up even more as we keep going, Lapis is best girl.
Oh yeah, she's climbed the ranks to best girl, without a doubt.
Lapis is 100% best girl. Lapis is the most relatable, well, and like, when we get to Room for Ruby, especially, but, yeah, Lapis is best girl. Like, there's nobody more relatable and likable than Lapis Lazuli in this entire show. Just because, because she isn't terribly likable, Like, she's really rude and, like, really mean and just, like, petty.
She is a very mean-spirited individual, and I love that.
I do. She's not, and they never really have, like, their very special episode devoted to making Lapis nice. Everybody just kind of accepts that Lapis went through some shit, and so, like, yeah, just put up with her. She's fun, Like, she's just that weird, bummed-out friend, that everybody
exactly.
loves. You still love them, even if they are like that. It's just like, whatever, that's just their personality. Deal with it. And
exactly. It's like that thing where someone was like, no one wants to be an Eeyore, and the response is like, what the fuck? Eeyore had tons of friends, and they always included him all the time. It's like, yeah, Lapis is rude, and she fairly clearly has problems, but at no point do any of them, like, not include her in things.
Yeah, nobody ever is so, like, out of touch to say, like, hey, Lapis, get over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Because
they just don't laugh at her awkward jokes, because they feel uncomfortable.
Really awkward. They're really uncomfortable. They're, like, really, really uncomfortable Lapis. But I love it. I love it about her.
Oh, I love it. And oh
my god.
Also, come on, the sorry about your marriage.
Yes.
And the cake had loss on it.
Oh my god. Yes. Rebecca Sugar. Why? Why loss?
We'll never be free.
I'll never be free from Tim Buckley. It's bullshit. What else is there in that episode that's so good? There's a lot, but if we keep going, we'll be here for 6 hours.
It was kind of weird that episode out of all of them got to be 22 minutes long.
Yeah, but I guess it's because there was a lot they wanted to kind of show. But
yeah, they had a lot to cover, and I'm kind of like thinking about what they could have cut. And there's not really a whole lot they could have taken out to have that go on. But like, it was just kind of like they could have find a way to split it in between 2 episodes and just like have Andy come back for the second half of his little arc there. Because, like, Bismuth was a significant episode, and it was like, oh god, this is a lot of heavy stuff going on. Yeah. And, like, Gem Harvest didn't quite have that much, like, that, like, it was a cool episode, and we learned a lot about Steven's family, and, like, it had, like, a good, stuff going on, but it's just, like, I think they didn't need to, it's kind of weird to think of, like, did this deserve 22 minutes? Because, like, what does that mean? Like, does any episode deserve 22 minutes?
Yeah, but, like, generally speaking, 22-minute episodes in Steven Universe land are, like, the big punchy episodes. Like, Bismuth. Bismuth is, like, the most, like, oh my god, episode in the series, pretty much, except for, like, a few at the end of Season 3. Season 3 was rough.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. Like, I like Gem Harvest a lot, but it just doesn't really stick out to me that much. I'm just kind of like, yeah, that was cute, that was fun. I like Carl basically being in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know, there's just better episodes. But it was still cute. It was just cute. That's what it was. It was cute. Mm-hmm. And I like seeing the gems have Thanksgiving, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, also this episode confirms that, like, yeah, they straight up don't have the holidays we have, because, like, Andy has that line where he's, like, giving out candy on some kind of candy giving out holiday.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they don't have Halloween, they don't have Christmas, but, like, and I get that Rebecca Sugar did it because she didn't want to have very special holiday episodes, but she still snuck one in anyways, which I think is hilarious. Yeah.
Well, she snuck 2 in because the next episode is a Christmas episode.
It is basically a blatant Christmas episode, yeah.
3 Gems and a Baby is the next episode.
Which is another kind of, like, weird episode. I really like the end of 3 Gems and a Baby. Like, mostly because I like the gems kind of having that moment of, like, oh, right, Steven is Steven. He's not Rose. You know? But it's kind of strange to me to go back to everybody's pre-development selves.
Well, I think that's really strange, but I also think it's, like, what a really good indication of how much they've grown over this by, like, having because it's one thing to go back to before Steven was born and to, like, show Greg as a young adult and with Rose and stuff like that, you know, because that's way, way back.
Yeah.
But, like, 14 years is not that long, relatively, compared to the rest of the gems, like, compared to the gems especially. What's 14 years to them?
Right.
So, like, it was, and also it's, like, a mark of, like, how good of a writing staff they have, because it's hard to go back after doing character development.
Yeah, for sure. And I did like the whole, like, meltdown in the van, mostly because, again, poor mom.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I did really like the episode. I like all the little bits with Greg and baby Steven. I just think that's really cute. Oh yeah,
that was super cute.
So cute, sweet baby. Just so adorable. And I mean, yeah. Some of the filler episodes, I'm kind of just like, what do I say about these episodes beyond they're cute?
Yeah, because like this season like didn't have as much of the punchiness as the last like season did, but like it still had bits worth discussing, and like especially in this one, I think there's a lot of like little subtle things that are just worth noting, like the reason why Garnet was so hesitant to unfuse in front of Steven for the longest time is because the last time she did it is because Steven freaked out.
Yeah, that's true, and they don't understand that, you know, after Steven was like 10, he probably could have handled it, but
yeah,
you know.
Once he developed object permanence again, you know, then he could be okay with it.
Right. But they don't know that. They don't know anything about human babies. So like, you know, I do like I like Amethyst changing back and forth from a baby. You know? Like, it's really funny.
Well, yeah, she had that great line where she was like, Garnet, pick me up. And then she just kind of sits there, she's like, okay, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. It can't be that great. But the show has yet to answer a question for me that I am dying to know the answer to. And, like, you can tell Rebecca Sugar is kind of dancing around the subject. Like, avoiding it. The way I'm avoiding it. And the question is, what happens if Steven gets poofed?
Yeah, what happens if someone does interfere with his gem?
Right? Like what?
It's the question you want to ask, but you're afraid to see her answer.
Oh my god, I know, right? I don't trust her. I don't trust what would happen. Like, I know it would still go back to being Steven, but like, it would probably be the most traumatic thing the show would ever do to you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a question, because, like, you know, have that moment of, like, Pearl, like, reaching for the gem, and you're just like, And you know nothing's gonna happen because it's a flashback.
Yeah.
But it's, like, really, it's Rebecca Sugar really violently reminding you, like, what would happen if Steven got, like, more, like, injured enough to be poofed in the way that, like, other gems are, you know? Like, what happens to him?
Yeah.
Is it, like, a mortal injury? Does he turn into a gem and then, like, reform the way they do? What happens? I don't want to know, but I really want to know.
Yeah, it's so, like, uncomfortable to think about, just, like, because they make such a big deal out of him being an organic human being, you know? So, like, and it's also the question of, like, how does his gem fit into his anatomy? Like, how is it part of his body?
Because we know that Steven has, like, yeah, he's a normal person, but he's not like a normal person, because he can do fine in low oxygen environments, and,
he's incredibly strong.
Yeah, he has super strength. He's got, like, all these little things that make him more than human, but not entirely gem. And it's also kind of that uncomfortable thing of, well, for Steven to get poofed, that would require mortally injuring a 14-year-old on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might end up being like that Ranma 1/2 situation where they're like, what happens if female Ranma gets pregnant? And her answer was, I don't think about that and neither should you.
But you know Rebecca Sugar's thought about it. Let's be
real
for a second. Because, like, Rebecca Sugar probably has thought about it. And
Rebecca Sugar has an answer.
Yeah,
and
it's just a question
she's just like... Yeah, she just is just waiting to reveal it.
Oh, God. And I'm not sure I want it to happen, but I really want to know what happens, you know? It's such, like, a weird thing. It's like, look, stop hurting my son, but tell me what happens if you really hurt my son. You know? Like, cut it out, but also, can you give me the DL and, like, really let me know what happens, but don't actually do it, you know? Just answer that question on Twitter, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, just say the answer, so then we'll be good. We don't have to see it. We don't have to see it.
Yeah, tell, don't show, please.
Yeah, in this one situation, tell, don't show.
Because it would just be so traumatic, because so much of this show is about hurting this child. Stop hurting my son! Okay.
Speaking of hurting,
no,
we're moving right on to the major arc of this season.
Yay!
So we're starting off with Steven's dream.
Oh man, what an I guess we can kind of talk about the whole arc. So
yeah, do you want to just like condense it like from Steven's dream up to That Will Be All?
Yes, please.
Okay.
That would just be a lot easier, because they all kind of, in my brain, they all kind of run together anyways.
Yeah, they're all kind of like the Steven Universe OVA.
It's all just one big long episode. Because, like, wow, man. Wow. I love Blue Diamond a lot.
Yeah.
I do. I can't wait for Steven to make best friends with her, because you know
Yeah, I can't wait for her to return, and for that just like normal interaction between the two of them.
I know. Like you said, the interaction between Greg and Blue was like the weirdest thing, right?
Yeah, and I told you, like, that part where you just see Blue Diamond like talking to herself in an open field like that is such a Dark Souls thing.
Right?
And like, I haven't played a lot of Dark Souls, but like, just the idea of randomly encountering some NPC in the middle of their own thoughts is absolutely 100% a Dark Souls thing. Especially if their like face is covered partially and you can't quite tell what they are, and they're in front of some sort of weird artifact. Like, and even the way she was talking, like her inflection and her tone was just like, holy shit, this is so weird and nothing like what we've seen in Steven Universe so far.
Yeah, because she's such a... I mean, the Diamonds are such kind of enigmatic characters, and, I mean, they've done a good job of showing the diamonds and giving them personality, but still kind of keeping them like weird, kind of unknowable people, you know? Like, especially Yellow Diamond is just funny because she's, you know, in an 80s power suit. But Blue has been such a subject of just like, ever since she first showed up in The Answer as like a flashback character where you can't really see what she really looks like. Blue has been such an enigma, and she's kind of stayed an enigma, even seeing her face and knowing that she's kind of in constant mourning. It's super good. Oh my god. I love Blue.
It's really, really weird. It's like very interesting to me that like the diamonds are so distinct from one another. Like, we've only seen the two. We've only seen Yellow and Blue, and like from The Answer, you could kind of see it from Blue, but, like, Yellow is very clearly a militaristic character. Mm-hmm. And to have Blue be more of this sort of, like, spiritual leader, mm-hmm. like, a very more emotional person, and the kind of thing where, like, she's more like the priestess than she is, like, a leader, you know?
Yeah. And, I mean, that makes sense because, like, the gems that are under her, especially the sapphires, are all apparently like the oracle type gems. So it makes sense that like all of her gems are more kind of these are like, or like Holly Blue is like a management kind of person. She's not, like, and meanwhile, you know, Peridot is part of kind of the war consortium, the way that the rubies are. Like, the rubies are all, fighter type kind of characters, too. So, like, it's all really interesting to kind of see happen, to see the way all of the gem types, who is under which kind of diamond. And we have yet to meet a single, underling of White Diamond, and I think that's really interesting.
We haven't seen a damn thing from White Diamond. I'm just what is she going to be?
What is she? Because we know that Jasper and obviously Rose Quartz were under Pink Diamond. We know the Sapphires and Holly Blue Agate are under Yellow. We know the Peridots and the Rubies are under Yellow. So, like... But we have not seen any subordinates at all of White Diamond, right? Like... None of the incidental characters. Like, I don't even think Centipedal, I don't think she was white. I think her human form had a yellow diamond on it, right?
I'd have to go back and check, but I think you're right. I don't think Centipedal was white. And even if she was, that doesn't tell us anything about what White Diamond's like, because we don't know what Centipedal was like.
Right.
We only know her as, like, the half, you know... Like, at most we know her as the half-breed, and we see her that she was on a ship, but, like, that doesn't tell us what kind of ship it was, what it was doing, like, what role White Diamond's group plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at her art. I actually just Googled it real fast. And, like, she's not, like, you know, all of the Homeworld gems wear, like, really obvious, like, diamond colors on their uniform. Like Holly Blue has a blue diamond on her uniform, and Peridot has a yellow diamond on her uniform. But I just looked up Centipedal, and she doesn't have a diamond on her uniform. But, you know, it's been like 6,000 years, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm saying I really, really want to see what White Diamond's deal is. I'm really interested in the diamonds. Can we please see what Pink looked like, please?
Yeah, can we just get at least just a shot of her? Like, come on.
I'm dying here, Rebecca Sugar. You're literally killing me.
We need a war episode. We need a war episode fast.
Oh my god, please, just one! Because I just want to know what Pink... I love that, just to kind of bring it back to Blue Diamond real fast, I like that Rebecca Sugar stabbed the Rose Quartz's Pink Diamond theory in the heart by showing a whole bunch of other Rose Quartzes!
Yeah!
Thank God. Please, can we kill that theory? Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Because the shot of the room full of Rose Quartzes in her chamber, in Blue's chamber in the zoo, was exactly what I needed to see. Because, like, yeah, it's clear. Obviously, they all have the exact same gem as Steven, and I want to see what all of them look like. Oh my god.
And the implication that they bubbled all the rose quartz after what Rose did.
I know. So like, it's so cool. It's cool to know that Steven is not technically the only rose quartz left. He's just the only one still functional, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see what the rest of them look like. I want to know. I want to know what they're like. I'm dying here. Do they all have amazing hair like Rose? I need to know these things.
I hope that's the consistent, like, part of their characters.
Because they all have great hair.
Yeah.
Like, God, the whole arc. Now, like I said, I think season 4 is kind of weak. I still really love this whole arc. You know?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, this is definitely the highlight. Like, especially, like, season 4 feels more, like, adventurous than 3. Like, in the sense that they are going to places. Yeah. You know? Like, whereas 3 was much more of a gut punch in a lot of ways. Like, 4 just feels like more of an adventure type thing, where, like, hey, let's check out this really cool place.
Yeah.
And, like, so yeah, going to space and going to a space station and seeing a zoo of humans, which, like, yeah, you were probably like, and I was also like, yeah, I'm betting you were like, oh god, this is gonna be horrible, right?
No, oh yeah, totally. Like, I don't know what I expected, because at some point, Holly Blue said, you know, all you need to do is just kind of, you know, or Pink Diamond. Ugh. Somebody's gonna take that as proof. Anyway, Pink Diamond figured out a way to just, you know, give them what they need to make them happy. And I'm like, what does that mean? And, like, so I wasn't, like, expecting a horror show, but I wasn't quite expecting that either.
Yeah.
It was so interesting. Like, what a strange place. And it just makes me even more curious about what the hell Pink Diamond was.
Because it was almost benevolent.
Yeah, because 5,000 years ago, or however long it's been since the Gem War, like, those people snatched up off of Earth, like, their little, you know, the little human zoo was probably a hell of a lot better deal than living on Earth 5,000 years ago during the Gem War.
Yeah,
you know?
they got free food, they got a, like, tropical paradise to live in.
But it's still not, like, human freedom, which is, like, the whole point of, like, why Rose... I guess the deal is that it's so anti what Rose loved about humans.
You know what? I'll bet that's it. Is that she loved the way that humans were all different and they could all grow and change. And I'll bet part of the reason that Rose ended up shattering Pink Diamond is because of the human zoo.
I mean, yeah, because it seems so, like, it's so against what makes, like, humans great. And, like, any, like, you know, the general kind of unifying theme across all media, you know, that speaks highly of the human race is that, like, we're all very, you know, individual people. We do our own thing. We're, you know, generally speaking, kind of more motivated and more ambitious than, like, other species. You know, like Mass Effect, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's even in, like, we were talking about, like, it's even in Tales. Like, that's, like, the general kind of running theme is that people are more willing to do, like, the impossible than other, like, alien species.
Yeah, exactly. It's that thing of, like, humans are better than you think they are.
Yeah, totally. And so, like, the human zoo is so opposite of that to Rose. So I'm sure that what had her particularly incensed. It's such an interesting concept too.
Yeah, it's like, one of those. It's one of those things where, like, I don't want to be like, I want them to save them because, like, they aren't in danger, and to try to drop them into a regular Earth life now would be very traumatic for them. But it's like, but isn't that, like, sort of Stockholm in a way?
Right? Like, what do you do with the people on the human zoo? Like, where do they go? You know? Like, like, you can't just drop them on Earth because they can't even handle a simple rejection. Like, Like, what do you do? I don't know. I really want to see... I want to go back to the human zoo and kind of figure it out, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah, I think we're gonna go back there at some point, because, there's no way we can just leave that as it is.
Yeah, oh, totally. Like, Rebecca Sugar obviously is gonna go back to that plot point at some point. I don't know how, but they will. But yeah, like, it kind of more and more, because, like, the ultimate plan for Earth was still to fuck it up, right? Like, destroy it and harvest it for all of its parts and leave it as nothing. Like, that was the ultimate plan, because we saw it in It Could Have Been Great. So, like, the way it kind of shows Pink Diamond is she's like a benevolent, like, dictator, you know? She's just like, yeah, I'll destroy this planet for the glory of Homeworld, but I'll take a few of you and stick you in a zoo for my own personal amusement, you know? And
yeah.
I want to see what Pink was like really badly. I really want to know. Because she's just such an interesting character to not know anything about entirely. And still just like all of the things she's did that we know about seem really interesting. So flashback is what I'm saying. I need a flashback.
Yeah, flashback episode.
Now. What else?
And on that, like, there's just a few more things I want to cover, but, like, first off, like, it felt really good to finally get that bit where Steven gets upset because no one tells him anything.
Yes, thank God, right?
Because we've put up with that for a while in this show, where it's just like, Steven is the kind of character who is too trusting and doesn't ask questions because they don't really occur to him to ask about these kinds of things, because he's grown up with it. It's his whole life.
Right.
But, like, when he finally gets a peek, like, into what's going on beyond further, to see him actually get angry at Garnet and Pearl for not telling him things anymore was just, like, really refreshing as an audience member.
Oh, yeah, completely. And just decide to, like, fuck it, I'll do it myself, you know? Like, that was such a great moment where it's like, I'll figure it out on my own. Even if it didn't necessarily have, like, the best results. I mean, it was still something he needed to do for himself, you know?
Mm-hmm. Especially to see Garnet get flustered like that, and to lose, like, her leadership ability in that regard, because we never, ever see her get like that.
I know, and every time it happens, you know it's because of something really major. Like when they came across the horrible fusion experiments. Like Garnet becomes unhinged for very, very valid reasons. Such as the fact that she just doesn't want... She can't face Blue Diamond, you know? Like, even... Interestingly, the one time they do come face-to-face with Blue Diamond... Garnet isn't Garnet. It's Ruby and Sapphire split up. Like, Garnet herself can't face Blue Diamond because of all of the baggage that comes with it, you know? Like, Garnet's aware more than anybody kind of how horrible, shattering Pink Diamond really was. Like, Pearl and Garnet really seemed to know that it was like a huge traumatic experience. And, they still can't seem to kind of face what that did to other people, you know?
Yeah, they can't, like, they can come to terms with it on their own, but they can't face the other people that it affected, even if they are the enemy. Yeah.
Because it's, you know, like, they know, honestly, they know better than anybody the fact that gems aren't really used to death. Like, to them, like, Blue Diamond's been in mourning for, like 5,000 years, and, like, they kind of know better than anybody now that they've lost Rose. Like, they kind of get how painful that is, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so now it feels even worse to kind of face Blue Diamond and be like, hey, we're the people who, you know, helped murder your sister, what's up? Yeah. I really want to see more of it.
Yeah, and then also we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the Famethyst.
Famethyst! Best characters! All of them! Best characters in the whole fucking season.
What a great thing for Amethyst to finally have. Because,
right?
like, Garnet has grown up around, or like not grown up, but like has existed around rubies and sapphires her whole lives. Mm-hmm. I guess you would put it as
plural.
Like, and,
yeah,
and Pearl knows what it's like to be a Pearl, but like Amethyst has never had any experience with other Amethysts before. Like all the other ones, Peridot, Lapis, and Jasper have all had experience with their own ranks. Mm-hmm. But like Amethyst had never encountered another Amethyst before, and that's been such a huge sticking point for her character.
Right.
And so to finally, not only to finally get that, but to have the affirmation that she's not, like, broken or she's not defective, because they're all like that.
Oh my god, how great was that?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so happy. I was so afraid for so long that Amethyst would meet other Amethysts and they'd all be like Jasper, you know?
Yeah.
And so it would just be like this confirmation that she was the weird one. And there really was something wrong with her. Or the fact that like her being around Rose kind of taught her to be different, and it'd be like a big, like a hang up for her. And I understand. But I'm so glad it wasn't. I'm so happy that Amethysts are just weirdos.
Yeah.
How great. How great.
Oh, it was just that scene where Amethyst, where Stephen and Greg get into the room, I guess the bunk, the barracks, I guess you would call them. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you'd call the not sleeping room for gems.
Yeah.
And just to be like, have her be that excited to finally meet people that are like her.
Oh, I know. And I just love the part when Carnelian picks her up and is just like running around screaming because she's not the shortest anymore. So cute.
Well, someone pointed out a very unique distinction about that, and that is, remember the bit in I can't remember the episode's name now, but the one where Peridot actually communicated with Yellow Diamond. Mm-hmm. And they have that little bit where she goes, "Which Peridot?" And then Peridot kind of fumbles as she lists off her facet number.
Yeah.
Because she's gotten used to being an individual now.
Yeah.
Like, but like... And then in that episode where Amethyst meets the others, she's excited to have a facet number.
Oh yeah, totally. Because it's not... For Peridot, she's never had an identity, So, like, to kind of forget her facet number means she's accepted the fact that she has her own identity. But, like, for Amethyst to have a facet number, it means that she's kind of... It's like an affirmation that, again, she's not the weird one. That she is... Like, this is just what Amethysts are like. She's not broken, she's not defective. It's just totally normal for her to be a fun goofball,
Yeah.
That's just what gems from Earth, who are made from Earth, kind of apparently are like.
Yeah,
which is really
exactly.
Cool, which is so great.
And it kind of reaffirms that thing where, like, there is no universal, this is good and this is bad, Yeah. Like, with that episode, we're like, with the earlier one, we're like, you see Peridot, like, yeah, it would be bad to, like, it's kind of bad to be a conforming, like, a thing where, like, you don't have your own identity. And then we get this where it's like, well, yeah, but also some people want to be accepted and want to be part of a group like that and have people relate to them in that way, and they want to be like others. And so, like, it's good to have that, like, balance of there's no real, like, universal right or wrong. It's just depending on who you are is how you'll feel about certain things.
Right. Like, to Amethyst, that was, like, the most important thing, to have, like, to kind of know that there's other people, other gems out there in the universe like her was like a big deal to kind of see that, like, oh hey, that's right, like, I'm totally fine. That was so nice. It was so nice. And it's cute.
It's exactly what she needed, and, like, I'm so happy for her to finally have that.
And I want to see them again. And
please.
I'm so glad that the Amethysts are like the human zoo's, like, weird counselors. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not...
Yeah,
They're not, like, the mean guards. They're just, like, the weird zookeepers who are, like, really nice to them.
Yeah, or the part where they run in not to, like, because you're like, if this were a darker series, it'd be like, run in to cattle prod them and knock them all out.
Right.
But it's, no, help them get down from the tree and tell them it'll be okay.
It's so cute! I'm so happy. Because, I just, to me, ideally, this just means that one day the human zoo is going to crash and just, the amethysts and, the human zoo inhabitants are going to live on another planet and just kind of goof off together forever. I want that.
No. What it should be is they crash and the amethysts and the zoo people end up living on Super Watermelon Island.
Oh my god, please, yes! Oh my god.
That's it. That's where they should all end up. And the amethysts can just take care of them and they can live in their tropical paradise with the watermelon Stevens.
I want that so badly now. Absolutely. I want the watermelon Stevens and the weird human zoo people to all happily coexist and the amethysts can act as bodyguards for this island full of weirdos. Give me that, please.
Oh
my god, that'd be amazing. Yes. Good idea. Good idea.
Thank you. We'd be remiss if we didn't also mention one final thing in this.
What's
and
that?
that is Pearl's absolute slaughtering of Holly Blue Agate.
By God, that gem had a family.
Have you ever seen someone get crushed on the molecular level like that?
Oh, the burn there was so tremendous.
Oh.
Garnet's little squeaky punch was amazing, of course. Squeaky punch was so good, but just Holly Blue getting told that hard. You had to, cover your eyes because it was so fierce you'd go blind, you know?
Just that perfect, her tone of voice, too, and the little nose touch was just oh.
And then ending it all with, that will be all.
Yeah.
Oh, such a boss moment. What a baller.
Doesn't seem like a wise thing to do, Holly Blue.
Ah!
Just, oh!
Shit! So badass. Who knew that Mom was so cool?
You just see the Dragon Ball Z thing where, the enemy is getting completely disintegrated.
Yes. Oh my god. Because she just to destroy her that easily was so good. And I love that it basically means that now the Famethysts have run of the station because Holly Blue got owned that hard.
because if Holly Blue ever steps out of line, the Famethysts can just reveal what happened.
Oh, totally. Now the Famethysts just get to kind of be goofballs forever with the human zoo people, and they can go to Super Watermelon Island. Oh, so good. Oh my god.
Okay, so we'll move on. We just have a few episodes to go.
I feel like I'm forgetting something about that arc though that I'm just not remembering. I think that's everything. think that's everything. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay.
So we'll move on to the sort of epilogue of it, which is the new crystal gems, which which one of the cutest episodes ever.
Lapis doing Garnet's accent really badly. Excuse me, you mean the best part in the whole series?
Oh my god, that was great.
Oh my god, I like Lapis getting really, really into being the crystal gems, way more so than Peridot and Connie.
Yeah.
Lapis is best girl. Best girl.
She also did the thing where she flipped her hair down to cover her eye when she was Amethyst.
I know. And she even went whole hog doing Amethyst's shitty, obnoxious jokes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So great. And I love Greg's new car wash sign.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's the best.
And or the where Connie even goes to the point where she wears Steven's clothes and sleeps in his bed.
Yes. And I like that Steven kind of ended up wearing his human zoo outfit for 5 episodes after.
Right? Or
it's so funny.
No, or the opening bit where Connie goes to Steven's house and she just walks in on Lapis and Peridot playing with the toilet.
Yes.
And where she's like, you tried to drown me when you sucked up all of Earth's water, and she's like, I tried to drown a lot of people.
Oh my god, Lapis is the best character. Lapis is the best character. How can you not love this weird, traumatized, just bucket of sadness? She's so relatable.
Oh my god.
It's so cute, and just everything. Like, all the little things. Just, Peridot getting really, really enthusiastic with her tiny, terrible powers.
Oh, right? Like,
yeah.
she's come so far with her metal bending. Like,
she has, and she's still really bad at it.
Where did she get those aviators is my question, because those are some nice sunglasses.
There's some nice-ass shades, right? I want to believe they're Steven's, because she's got a tiny head.
Wait a minute. Peridot has a visor.
Right?
And that covers, like, her nose, too. So was she wearing the... I have to check in. Was she wearing the glasses over her visor?
Was she... Hold on. Wait, was she? No. She might have been. Was she wearing them under her visor? Oh my god, she was totally wearing them under her visor. She has to have been. Oh, Peridot, why are you like this?
Oh, she's so great.
Oh, you little gremlin thing.
Well, and the bit where, like, she imitates Garnet by doing the thumbs up, because that's all Garnet would do to her.
Yes.
I love Peridot picking up very specific quirks about things.
Oh, I
like,
know.
Always saying, wow, thanks.
Yes, like, she thinks that she thinks that thanking somebody is saying the whole thing. Like, you don't just say thanks, you think it's, wow, thanks, you know?
Yeah,
oh,
that's the word for it.
So good. Like, this weird little goblin child is come so far, and I'm so glad. And
Make Peridot smaller.
Make her tinier. I hope it keeps pissing people off, because I think it's funny.
Right?
I think people getting mad about it's hilarious.
I hope Peridot continues to shrink until she is pocket-sized.
Until
and
she's
no one mentions it.
Hair. I hope she's all hair.
Yes, and then no one in the show mentions it ever.
Yes. Perfect. Because I like that it keeps pissing people off. Because it's such a weird thing for people to get mad about. Like, shows have stylistic inconsistencies all the time. Yeah. Have you ever actually watched anime?
There are like 5 different artist teams on Steven Universe. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, guess what? Characters are inconsistent because different people are drawing them.
I don't... Listen, there's like... I feel like I should send all of these people... Like, people have put together different images showing the different styles of episodes of Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill because, surprise, different lead animators worked on them. So yeah, the characters look different. Like, that's kind of a thing that happens in animated shows like this that are actually hand-drawn and not just, like, shitty Flash models, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, that's just kind of how this thing works, guys. I don't know why people get so mad about it. Besides, Tiny Steven is cute.
Yeah, he's cuter. And, like, as long as, like, the biggest thing I have with it is, like, as long as the heights are consistent in relation to characters. Like, Garnet is the tallest, and Pearl is shorter than her. Like, as long as they're consistent to each other, like, I don't fudge it. I don't care. Like,
I don't give a shit. Yeah.
They need to be as tall as they need to be for this particular scene to happen.
Right. Like, it's cute to watch Steven have to use a stool to get his food out of the microwave and then drag that same stool over to the countertop. It's cute. Shut up. Exactly. Enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Stop being such a killjoy, you jerks. So, yeah. I like Tiny Peridot. It's funny. So, whatever.
I do too.
Next episode.
Next episode, because back to sadness.
Oh, boy.
Let's talk about Storm in the Room.
Oh, God. Storm in the Room. Oh,
speaking of weird relationships with his mother.
Oh boy, this is an episode to
Fuck,
unpack.
Dude. Yeah.
Storm in the Room is the one episode this season that really actually did make me cry. I didn't, like, a lot of this season didn't get me too terribly misty-eyed, as in, again, season 3 destroyed me. But Storm in the Room is the one that got me. When Steven laid his head on Rose's knee, like, when they were sitting together in the room, you know, and he's saying, oh, I should have done this a long time ago, you know, like...
Yeah.
Oh, baby. Oh, honey. Oh, no. No, no. Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad. And I honestly... God, because Steven is Rose. Like, he is technically Rose, right? Like, he's his own person.
Yeah.
But he is also kind of a poofed version of Rose, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I have a hard time unpacking, like, when is Steven talking to himself through Rose, and when is Rose talking to Steven?
Yeah, like, is it at any point, is Rose able to communicate through Steven?
Yeah.
Like, is she, like, what part of Steven's mind is Rose?
Right. And I don't know. Like, I feel like at the end of the episode, when after the kind of meltdown, like, that just, it kind of seemed like who Rose actually was, but I don't know. Like, you know, when she's saying, like, you know, I told you all these things on the tape, did you think I was lying? I don't know.
Yeah, like, how much of that was the room, how much of that was Steven's subconscious reminding him, and how much of that was actually Rose?
Yeah, like, can Rose talk to Steven at all through the room? And if she can we please do that more often? Because really, I need some answers here, people. But God, that episode is so sad, and it's such a just, like, culmination of everything that's happened so far, and blaming Rose for all of this stuff that's happened, and like, yeah, it's her fault, but it's kind of, like, justified her fault, too. Like, how bad of a person is Rose Quartz really, is kind of the answer, and we still don't really know the answer. That's the question, and we don't know the answer, you know? Like, yeah,
well, we get, like, a lot of that, like, Steven's anger is pretty justified in that moment, because that's been, like, one of the running things about this, is we're given all this information about what Rose has done, and it's just like, the idea that, like, yeah, she did it all to run away from her mistakes, and that she gave up was totally a viable theory for a long time. Like, the whole, like, you know, fallen idol thing, where it's just like, yeah, Rose is this amazing woman, and eventually it got too much for her, and she just ran away.
Yeah. But, like, it's so much to unpack, because like, Rose is probably one of, like, for being a character we don't know a lot about, Rose is one of my favorite characters in the show, because she is so, like, weirdly complex and kind of unknowable, because she's just gone. Like, I want to know, because we have these two, like, huge dichotomies, almost three, really, is, like, the way the Gems knew her, which was, like, to her, she's, like, can do no wrong, total savior character. Like, you know, she taught Pearl to be herself, and, you know, convinced Garnet to be totally cool with being a fusion, and, you know, took Amethyst in, and all this stuff. And then, like, we know what she did. You know, she shattered Pink Diamond, and all of this horrible thing. You know, she bubbled Bismuth, and all of these things that have happened to Earth are, you know, a direct result of the things she did during the war. And eventually she, you know, kind of passed it all on to Steven by giving birth to him. But then you have this other version of her, which is the version Greg knew. And, like, that's the version I'm the most interested in, because Greg just seems to have, it never seems like she ever lied to him, and it always seems like she was just really genuine with him, and it almost feels like if anybody knew the real Rose Quartz, it was Greg, you know?
Yeah, I can feel that.
And it's kind of like, I want to know more about, I want to see more flashback episodes about that Rose too, and, you know, not just the savior Rose, or the Rose that started the Gem War. I like seeing episodes where you kind of get an idea that she was just, like, somebody who did a lot of bad things a long time ago, but they might have been for justified. I don't know about bismuth. God, bismuth is. I don't want to talk about
bismuth's a whole thing.
It's a bag of snakes. I can't even begin to unpack. Yeah. But you just try to wonder where. You just want to know what she was really like and who she really was and how she felt about all this shit, And I guess that's kind of how Steven feels too, where she just is somebody he can't know ever.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting because this show makes a very good, a very distinct point, and they make it very clear that Steven can never really know anything completely 100% true about Rose, because whether it's from Greg or the crystal gems, or from Homeworld gems, they are all very colored opinions on who Rose Quartz was, and Steven can never get an actual answer out of them, because it'll always have it'll always be opinionated in some way, because that's just who Rose was. She was a very influential person in that way, and her personality was so great that you can't describe it without having some sort of opinion or feeling about it.
Yeah. And so in a way, I think the biggest thing that Steven Universe does really well, despite not ever really talking about it or going too hard with it, Steven Universe handles the idea of death really well. Of once somebody's gone, they're just kind of gone, And once they're gone, you can never really know them, And so
you can't learn anything more about them.
Yeah, once somebody's dead, they're just kind of dead. And so because Rose is gone, she'll kind of always be a mystery to him, and it's just kind of a thing that after a certain point you have to just kind of accept and move on from, and I don't think Steven's at that point yet where, obviously he's a 14-year-old kid whose mom died and he'll never get to know her, and it's fucked up. So but a point is going to come in this series where it's kind of I have what I have. I've got the video from her and maybe some other message at some point down the line. But, after a certain point, he's gonna just come to terms with the fact that, I can never really know Mom 100%. And, I mean, that's fine. I know about her what I know about her, and I'll come to terms with it. I think it's coming eventually, but it's, it'll be the biggest point of his character development.
Yeah, the problem with that, from a storytelling perspective, is that Rose's influence is so powerful that people will keep showing up and calling him Rose.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be, the final... Basically, I think it'll be one of the final plot development. If not one of, maybe even the final major character development moment in the series. When this show ends, it will end on that kind of a note, Of, Mom is gone, I will never know her. At the point I am now as a character, I've made peace with it. Hey, the show is over. That'll be the climax of Steven's character development, and everything after that will be resolution.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's I think that's definitely how the show... That's kind of where the show is going, I think, with his development, is that it'll end... All of this is kind of culminating in, Steven is going to kind of come to terms with Rose and everything she was and everything she could have been and blah 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 blah. So yeah, but I love how they handle it. It's so good. Oh!
These kinds of episodes are so good for what they do, and I mentioned this to you before, but they pack so much into 11 minutes.
I know. What the hell? They tell so much story in 11 minutes. You can't even believe it.
It's crazy how much they can cram into that much time and still have enough time for a serious problem and then resolve it in a sort of satisfactory way, but not really totally resolve it, but give you enough to be satisfied with it by the end.
Right, for now, until you think about it for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you want more. So yeah, Storm in the Room is super good. And just that whole confrontation with Rose in the storm, like the literal storm in the room, is so good. That whole animation sequence is amazing.
Yeah. Rose's face, like, shrouded in shadow, and, like, Steven getting blown away, and then still just trying to yell at her.
I know. So good. Such a good sequence. Oh, man. Great episode. 100%. I love any episode that has to do with the room. I'm always like, oh, boy, here we go.
Yeah,
you know?
here, something bad's gonna happen here.
Maybe we should just stop going into the room, Steven.
At the very least, I am glad that, like, Steven knew right off the bat, none of this is going to be real, but maybe I can get some closure out of it.
Yeah, and he kind of did. It was an interesting kind of sequence. I do love the whole... Because it's kind of like with all of this development and stuff that's been going on with Rose, you kind of forget about the videotape, because the videotape is, like, the most important thing in the show, basically.
Yeah. It's the only thing we have that, like, describes the process of how Rose became Steven.
And it's like the only time in the series that Rose has actually addressed Steven that we know of for now. Like, it's the only scene in the entire series where Rose has face to face in finger quotes addressed Steven. And so, like, and you forget about it. Sometimes you're just like, oh god,
yeah.
What? You think, like, did Rose really, become Steven to run away from her problems? And then she reminds you, like, no, like, she really was excited to have him, and she wanted to meet him, and just the way things worked out, she couldn't. And, so when she reminds you of the videotape, you're like, oh right, it's not as simple as Rose was running away from her problems. It's a much bigger and more complex thing.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love Rose Quartz so much. I think we've talked just about this episode for, like, way too long.
We've talked about this episode longer than the episode has, like, airs.
Yeah, we've spent more time talking about it than it actually, like, lasts. So, yeah. Okay.
So, moving right on from that soul-wrenching, lore dive, what it was, let's talk about Rocknaldo.
Oh, do we have to?
It is worth mentioning that this episode was a lot less cringy than I thought it was going to be, and props to them for, like, not making it as uncomfortable as it could have been.
Honestly, the funny thing is, you were like, I'm so ready to cringe about this, and I was like, It's not going to be that bad, and then you came out of it being like, oh, that wasn't so bad, and I'm like, oh god, that was so much worse than I expected.
See, Sarah, this is why you have low expectations for Ronaldo episodes.
I know, but, like, the last Ronaldo episode actually was pretty damn funny. So, like, I was like, after that one, I was just like, yeah, it can't be that bad. Oh, it's so bad. I hate this episode so much. I just don't like it, and it's stupid.
It was not a home run, that's for damn sure, but...
Oh, God, it was barely a first base.
It was one of those, it's like, this episode was like a commentary episode, where it's just like...
totally.
We're addressing the toxic part of the fan base.
Totally.
Here it is. Like, this is what you guys are doing to ruin the show.
Yeah.
For other people.
You're just being a bunch of self-centered assholes, basically. Because the Steven Universe fandom has basically become one of the worst on the internet. Despite the fact that the show is pretty damn good. But, whatever. It's still not as bad as Bronies yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet. But and it was really nice that finally Ronaldo got some development, and he's not going to be a weird harassing guy anymore. And
that is true.
He's not going to, like, spy on the gems anymore, and he actually understands things now.
It is nice that Steven kind of lost his temper at Ronaldo. I'll give you
that. Oh yeah. That was well
satisfying.
Deserved.
That was satisfying.
And, especially the part where it's like, where you show Steven like feeling bad for it, and then like you're like, okay, well, yeah, okay, he's going to learn to be nicer to people because they don't understand. And then Steven goes, wait a minute, No, I am the crystal gem, and he's not. He doesn't get to yell. He doesn't get to scold me. I was in charge.
Right. Like, it's totally... Like, you expect Steven to just kind of take it, and you're like, oh, God, here we go. But you're used to it because it's Steven. And then he goes, like, no, fuck that. This guy's being a jerk. I'm going to tell him he's being a jerk. Like, thanks, Steven. That's exactly what I needed you to do.
Yeah.
Season 4, a.k.a. Steven finds his backbone, and it's awesome. But yeah, otherwise, I don't.
Otherwise, a pretty forgettable episode.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spend more than 5 minutes talking about Rocknaldo. Although I will say, I like Pearl intentionally always fucking up his name.
That was good.
Pearl is me in this episode where she's like, no, he can't live here. Nope, and constantly fucking up his gem name. Thank you, Pearl. You're the best. Consistently. So yeah, that's all.
Also the bit where, like, I'm quitting social media forever, and then he posts a video mid-conversation. Because, we know who that guy, we've all seen that guy on the internet.
Yep, we know all of those guys, for sure. So, yeah. But otherwise, I'm done.
Yeah. Slightly better, but also worse for similar reasons, was Tiger Philanthropist. Which is an episode I was excited for until we actually watched it. Because it was not what because, like, I've been clamoring for more Tiger Millionaire since Tiger Millionaire.
I know. But then they made it about Lars, kind of. Yeah. And when it should have been like, actually about Steven and Amethyst. Mm-hmm. But instead, it was kind of more about, like, Steven trying to impress Lars. Can we please drop this fucking plot point? I'm so over it.
And, like, I get it, because, like, Lars represented the fan base that is impossible to please, and, like, the idea is that Steven was trying to keep wrestling, but, like, he wasn't doing it for himself, he was doing it to impress an audience. But, like, you could have used any other character but Lars to illustrate that point. Like, you could have used Mr. Smiley, who was the, like... He could have been like, yeah, Steven, like, people aren't coming to see Tiger Philanthropist anymore. And he's, like, trying to parse why that could be based on, like, the ticket sales or whatever.
Right.
It didn't have to be Lars, because I don't think anyone wants to see Lars.
Nobody likes Lars, Rebecca Sugar. I'm sorry. I need you to understand this. Please, God, understand. Nobody likes Lars. Nobody.
You either give him some well-deserved actual sticking development, or you just fade him away.
Just stop making me see him, because he's every shitty, petulant teenage boy, and it's not a fun character. It's not fun to watch. I don't like listening to him whine. God, I hate hearing Lars whine. I just cannot stand. I have such a active dislike for Lars, that as soon as he got, like, any kind of spotlight in this episode, I was just like, well, this episode is a wash.
Yep. Like, every minute that Lars was on the screen could have been spent more on Steven and Amethyst's, like, relationship and why, and the effects that her just kind of bailing on him had. We could have gotten way more of that part of, just because I loved that bit where it was, you okay?
Yeah. Wait.
Okay.
Sorry, your audio got weird for a second there, like it really cut out, and I sat up to try and see what was up.
Okay.
Carry on.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, like, that bit where, like, Steven actually confronts Amethyst, and he's like, well, I was still having fun wrestling, like, because Amethyst uses it as a, as a coping mechanism to deal with, her isolation. So, like, having, like, and Steven was just like, well, I was having fun with you.
Yeah.
And, like, we could have gotten more about that than, like,
Lars.
Anything to do with Lars, yeah.
I mean, it should have been, like, a lot of people, okay, so I saw a lot of the fan reaction to this episode, and a lot of people are mad that Amethyst, like, feels good about herself now, which is weird. But,
yeah,
like,
that's dumb.
I feel like I kind of get it. I mean, people are taking it the wrong way, but I get it because it's like, she just kind of says it, and there isn't, like, a lot of build-up to it. So, like, this whole episode should have been about, like, and you get why it happens. It's because she met the Famethist, and now she feels good about herself. Like, yeah,
exactly.
But it's like, it just kind of happens in this episode. There's no build-up to it, because this episode somehow managed to be about fucking Lars when nobody cares about Lars.
There were, like 3 minutes spent out of the 11 spent on Lars. And those 3 could have been spent on seeing Amethyst get bored with wrestling.
Or just, having more of that character development between her and Steven instead of just the episode starting with her being like, nah, I'm done. Like, there should have been more to it than that, you know?
Yeah, like, exactly.
And I don't care.
Honestly, I think the episode should have ended with them continuing to wrestle, and the lesson should have been, even if, you're not doing it to feel better about yourself, you're still having fun with it, and you don't need to stop doing the activity, necessarily just because you got what you wanted out of it.
Yeah, like, do it because it's fun. I don't know. Yeah. It's such a whatever episode. I hate Lars. Yeah,
and I'm just like, I was very disappointed, because, like, I was so, when I saw Tiger Philanthropist, I was super excited because I loved Tiger Millionaire so much, and it was such a fun, dumb episode. I'm like, yes, I want more of that. And then and also, wrestling in Steven Universe is weird. Like, is it real? Is it fixed? Like, because they have characters and storylines, and, like, but the matches don't seem to have a conclusion, like a pre-decided conclusion.
Right.
But, like, wrestlers can just show up at random, which would be hard to organize if it wasn't pre-scripted. And I guess the moral of the story is it's just real good kayfabe. Like,
that episode. Oh well.
But you know what? It ended really strong because the last episode we have is Room for Ruby.
Yes. Okay. Room for Ruby is a good damn episode. Because Lapis is best girl.
Oh yeah.
Lapis is best girl. This is just proof once and for all that Lapis is the best character in the show because she's the most relatable character ever. If you've had to put up with any kind of shit and deal with somebody like Navy, then yeah, you get it. You're just like, that is not pretty much as soon as Navy was on screen and like doing her thing at the farm, I'm like, there's some shit up because nobody is that well adjusted. And hey, I was right.
Which I actually wanted to bring up because, like, again, they take the extra step with that, which is like, especially with regards to Lapis, which is like, because they had that like minute-long scene where like it shows Lapis flying away and she talks about how like no one can be that well adjusted and like, it took that long for her to connect, and like the episode could have been just Lapis doesn't trust her, and then it turns out that Navy actually is a traitor and Lapis gets to be right about it, But they had that really good bit where they show Lapis freaking out, not because everyone else trusts Navy and she's suspicious, but because to her there were two options, which is one, that Navy is faking it and that they're all in danger because Navy is getting behind their defenses. The other is that Navy actually is adjusting and that Lapis is wrong for not doing it as quickly.
Right, like there's something wrong with, like, Lapis feels like there's something wrong with herself.
Yeah, like the idea is, well, she could do it. Why couldn't I adjust this quickly? And for Lapis, neither of them were good things to be. One was because she would be in literal danger, and the other is that maybe there's something wrong with her.
Right, yeah.
And so to have that little bit shows, like, just that extra, like, bit of character for Lapis, and shows that she's not just necessarily the joyless buzzkill sarcastic one. She still does have, problems, and she still gets concerned about things like that could affect her.
Yeah, and she's still, like, working through it. I mean, I think Lapis is such a good kind of analog for somebody who's been through some shit. And it's not always easy to just get over it. You can't just be like, oh, well, that's over now and I feel great, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work that way. Sorry. If you've been through some shit, it takes years and years and years to get over it. And,
yeah, just because you have a bunch of friends now and you have a place to live doesn't necessarily mean it's okay now.
Right, like, it's a lot harder than just like, hey, well, it's over and now I feel great. It doesn't work like that. You don't just, and so, like, I guess that's why Lapis is so great, is because she still gets to be, like, funny and sarcastic, and she gets to kind of be exactly the character the show needed, which is, you know, the funny Killjoy character, basically. But it's for, like, a good reason. And, you know, for her to acknowledge, like, yeah, I still feel like there's something wrong with me. Like, why is it so easy for her? Surprise, it's not that easy for her. She's just a traitor bitch. And, she's crazy, which is hilarious.
Fucking stone cold.
So cold! Oh my god!
The most evil character in the series
is Navy and her little squeaky voice. Like, oh my god.
It's just that line of, like, the problem is that you're still hanging on! And she tries to fling them into the ocean.
Oh my god, it's so funny! Oh my god. And just, like, she said, like, what? She said, I wanted to see your faces!
Yeah. Like, dear God, you're so evil!
The most evil of all the characters. And, of course, this is all going to end so poorly. But the episode is really good. But the episode is still really good for it. And I just love Lapis walking out of the ocean, laughing hysterically, because she feels totally vindicated.
Oh, yeah, totally, 100%.
It's the best.
And the fucking Garnet with the balloons.
Oh my god, yes. Because she saw both possible futures. And she's like, well, this is the wrong one. Yeah. Oh, I like Garnet just being, like, the weird, like the serious comedy character, you know? Like the stone-faced straight man. But, like, everything she does is really funny.
Is she a straight man?
No, she's not. You're right.
Like, she's not, but also, is she the funny one? Like, no? Yeah?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
It all goes back to that one point where it's just like, nothing Garnet could ever do could be out of character.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I think we said that last time we talked about this, and I love it. Like, every time. Like, everything Garnet does is in character because she's just such a weirdo, you know?
Yeah.
And I love her. I love that they found a way to use her future sight as, like, the best kind of comedy, like, setup. Like, one of the best jokes in the zoo arc, and we didn't bring it up, but I'm gonna bring it up now, is when they go, do you think this is gonna work? Or, no, what do they say? They go, they ask Sapphire, like, is this gonna work? And she goes, no, but we're gonna give it a shot anyways. Let's change the future. And I'm just like, yes! It's so funny, because she's wearing that, like, smile of just like, there's no way this is gonna work. And then it works anyways. Oh my god, it's so good.
Or, speaking of Sapphire, we didn't mention that either, but, like, the bit where she has to slyly wink to the others to signal them. So she has to push all her hair out of the way and then blink her one giant eye.
And Steven doesn't know what it means at all. But, like, Ruby immediately gets it. It's hilarious. Oh my god. That's comedy gold. Just like... And I like, also, and this is, like, a more serious note, but I still love it because it's so, like, what Homeworld's problem is, like, okay, so, like, Blue Diamond a billion years ago sentenced Ruby and Sapphire to both be shattered, right? Mm-hmm. And, like, but as soon as Ruby and Sapphire show up, she doesn't recognize them at all, because to her, they're all the exact same gem. Like, she doesn't care. Yeah. And so, like, because of that, like Sapphire is able to bullshit her way into, like, coming up with an excuse for why she's there. Like, oh, well, I foresaw that you needed more humans for your zoo, your Clarity. And, like, Blue just immediately buys it because it's a pretty good lie. And she doesn't recognize she can't tell the difference between rubies and sapphires because they're all the same, apparently. So good. Such a good little simple way to show, like, Homeworld's problems, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Even though, like, again, we've seen, like, the 5 rubies are, like, their personalities are so distinct from each other that, like, how could you not tell them apart? And the answer is they just don't care to look. Right,
exactly. So good. And I like anytime Ruby and Sapphire show up because I like them so much.
Oh yeah, me too.
I love how angry Ruby is about everything. So relatable.
No, the part where like they're like, we have to get this door open, so Pearl's trying to hack it, and then Ruby is just like screaming and clawing at it, and to the point where she just slides face down in defeat.
It's so funny. Oh my god. I love this show. And season 4, I think season 4 is weaker than season 3 and probably weaker than season 2. Not as weak as season 1 because season 1 was still finding its feet until like the very end. Like with Jailbreak and all that stuff. But that said, I still think it's good. It's just not as good as 2 and 3. Because I don't know if it's a budget restriction. I don't know if it's a production problem because obviously Cartoon Network is trying to destroy this show. Like they're obviously like that's their end game is to get this show canceled or to justify cancellation of Steven Universe. I just hope we get the whole story before they do it. But like, you know, the lack of kind of like the big magical moments. Like we didn't get as many of them in this season. I think that was a huge shame. Like I'm thinking of the end of the cluster arc with that whole big, sparkly, beautiful moment where Steven, you see Steven talking to all of the cluster, and it was like this incredible moment. Like we didn't get a lot of that stuff in this season, and that's a shame. And I don't know, like, if it was a production problem, if it's a writing problem. It's kind of everything kind of coming together. But I still really enjoyed it. I mean, like, Steven Universe is still one of the best cartoons on TV, even when it has a weaker season, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's a testament of how you know, good the quality of the writing is. We're just like, we can see all these great moments, and we'll be like, yeah, it wasn't as good as it's been, but, you know, that's like
the best cartoon on TV, like, 100%. Yeah.
That's how spoiled we are with this show. We're gonna be like, we can be given, you know, this gourmet cake, and we're like, it's all right, I guess. Wasn't as good as your last one.
Right, totally. Like you know, for me saying like season 4 isn't as good, that's like saying it's like a 9 instead of a 10. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's still good, don't get me wrong. It's just not quite at the same level as 2 and 3, because 2 and 3 are just such stellar writing. But the whole zoo arc is so enjoyable that you can, it earns a pass. It is, if it didn't have the zoo arc, it'd be a lot worse.
Yeah, it'd be a lot more, but I wouldn't say it would be worse, it'd be a lot more nothing. Like,
yeah, because its filler episodes were just not as good as... Like, yeah, it had a few really good filler episodes, like Last One Out of Beach City. But, you know, its other filler episodes were just not as good as Season 3's filler episodes. Like, I mean, Kiki's Pizza Delivery, sir. All of the pizza episodes from Season 3 are just like, oh my god. Comedy gold. So, like, yeah, like, but the zoo arc totally saved it, because it was just so enjoyable to see all of the... To see something new, you know, to go out and actually kind of start getting into homeworld space, like homeworld areas, like the human zoo and stuff.
Yeah.
Super, super cool. Like, we needed that really badly.
Like, actually going to functioning parts of homeworld.
Yeah, we needed that
That
badly.
was, like, that was the big thing. And, like, I really hope we see a lot more of that in the coming season. Like, now that I think about it, wow, we're on season 5. We're approaching season 5 of Steven Universe.
And
That's
think Rebecca's
crazy.
I think Rebecca's said it's only going to run for 6 seasons, so we're kind of getting there. I'm just hoping it.
Yeah.
Please, Jesus God, please, God in heaven, let Cartoon Network let this show get its full run before they cancel it. God, please. Because seriously, we need to see this come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
So, like, fingers crossed, everybody go buy your merch. I'm probably, when I get some spare money, I'm gonna go buy all the seasons that are available on Amazon Prime so that I can, like, say I spent money on the show instead of just watching it illegally on Daily Motion. Whoops.
I'm gonna... Well, hey, you know what? If you don't have a Nelson box, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Steven Universe fans out there, if you don't have a Nielsen box, it doesn't matter if you watch it on TV.
Just go buy the fucking seasons on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime Video, go buy them there. They're $20 a pop. It's so cheap. Like, $20 for a whole season of Steven Universe is really, really reasonable. So yeah, go buy it.
Yeah, totally. But
do that.
So like, if you want to support this show,
buy merch.
And you have to buy the merch, because watching it without a Nielsen box doesn't do anything.
It's pointless. Completely pointless. So buy merch, go buy the seasons on Amazon Prime, or watch it on Hulu, because they do. Yeah. I know that because it's on Hulu, and I think they track those watch numbers. So yeah, do that.
Those are your options.
Yeah, do it right, people. Come on. So yeah, Steven Universe is still pretty fucking good, though, my dude.
Oh man, it's like never fails to put a smile on my face.
And so beautiful, still a beautiful show. And where's my OST?
Oh yeah, where's the soundtrack? I want to get the soundtrack so I can just listen to it whenever.
I need it real bad. I'll buy that shit in a heartbeat. Send me a CD. I got a CD player in my car, yo. I can totally listen to it there. I'll buy a CD. I'm not above it. So yeah. Okay.
So we'll be back with more Steven Universe the next time we get a big chunk of episodes.
We'll probably come back at the end of season 5 if it makes it that long. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Buy your merch, do your thing. So yeah, hopefully we'll be back to this. Yeah, cool.
So you can follow us on Twitter at the Gorge Podcast. You can tweet us about Steven Universe, or you can tweet us about comic books, because that's all we talk about.
All you talk about. We have a Tumblr now.
Yep, it's thegorgepodcast.tumblr.com. I'm going to post update links about the site, just general news, and like whatever thoughts we forgot to mention on the podcast will probably go there after the episode goes up.
Sounds good.
You know, just like whatever idle thoughts or just any sort of news or whatever, or cool things we see. We can also email us at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. Sarah, tell us about your other podcast.
Hey, I'm in another podcast. It's called Big Gay Nerds, because we're a bunch of big gay nerds. It's a LGBT RPG podcast. Hey, I did it.
Yay!
Yeah, it's a live play, which means you basically get to listen to me and a bunch of my friends play, right now, Monster Hearts, which is super, super good. And it's awesome. And we basically will cycle... What we do is we cycle through a bunch of different, like, kind of systems, but we consistently go back to D&D and Monster Hearts. So yeah, you should listen to it. We're on SoundCloud at the Gorge Pod... Or, not the Gorge. Damn it. Sorry. I listen to you talk and I forget what I'm saying. We're on SoundCloud at Big Gay Nerds. And we should have a Twitter soon. I know we have a Tumblr. And that's biggaynerds.tumblr.com. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thanks to Visitor for use our background music. That'll be it, I guess. Yeah, fuck Lars.
Fuck Lars. And Cartoon Network.
Yeah, and them too.
Them too. Good night, everyone.
Good night.